I built a special Node 3 for the holiday season inside DaVinci Resolve. In this video, I'm going to show it to you step by step. You can build it yourself or buy it as a power glue. It's only $6. You can find the link in the description down below. These are the 4 files that are inside: 2DPX and 2DRX. To import them into DaVinci Resolve, you just have to go into the gallery. I will suggest to create a new Power Grade folder, right-click, and add a Power Grade album. I just right-click here and go to Import. And I'm just going to select the DRX. You have to remember to don't delete the DPX because it actually needs them. So I'm just going to import, and that's it. First, we're going to see the clean version. This means that we have our creased mask Node 3, but it doesn't have any kind of effect applied. First, we have a mux. This is a very important node. I'm not going to explain this right now. If you want to know the explanation, you can subscribe to this channel because I'm going to release that video next Thursday. But the next node is a denoiser. You don't have to denoise every single image. Like for example, this one is very clean, so I will not add any kind of denoise. Then we have the exposure node. I recommend you to just use the offset. And one important note is that I'm working in DaVinci Color Managed, and that's why the offset works very well as an exposure kind of adjustment. If you are using ACES, it will work as well without no problem. I'm just going to lower a little bit the exposure. That's it. And then we have the Kelvin or tint. Here I can go a little bit more warm for this look. Then I have my contrast, which I will increase just a little bit. Remember that if you press Alt, modifying this, it will be a little bit more subtle. So that's perfect for my contrast. Then saturation, just a little bit. That's perfect. And then the medium detail. I'm just going to reduce it by 30. And what this will do is just give me this like very dreamy kind of look. So right now we are already done with these parallels. This is kind of the restoration process. This is some kind of balance. Here we're going to add a little bit more specific kind of corrections. So the first one will be my warper. So I go into the warper tool and maybe I want to get a little bit more of saturation, but just in the reds. So I click, drag, and I think that's it. For my secondaries, maybe I can go in here and select just a little part of this tree. So I'm going to click here, Shift H, so I can see my mask. And this is like too much. I'm going to reduce the width. That's the only selection that I need right now. So Shift H to hide the mask. And right now what I'm going to do is increase the greens on the offset. And yes, of course, this looks very, very bad. But here's the trick. I'm just going to increase the blur radius, like very much, like 300. I think that's enough. This is the before, this is the after, and this looks much better. And now I can add an OFX, any OFX that you want. In my case, I prefer to use a glow, decrease the threshold. Maybe it's a little too much. I will just go to the opacity and lower it just a little bit. This is before, after, and that's it. That's perfect. And then I can also make some changes to the face region. Create a new mask, adjust it just to the size of the face. And of course, I'm going to need to track it. Increase a little bit the offset and increase a little bit more of contrast. Before, after. That's perfect. Then here we have a splitter combiner node. So in the red channel, I will go into my log wheels and decrease the shadows. And then on the blue side, I'm going to decrease the highlights. And in this case, it appears that it doesn't do anything at all. And that's because I need to decrease my range. So I Alt, click and drag until I'm looking that changes. That's too much, of course, but I'm going to decrease it a little bit more. That's the before and this is the after. And I can select all these 3 nodes. This is the before and this is the after. For my vignette, I always like to create 2 different, one here and the other one right here. Of course, I need to track both masks, Shift H to hide the mask once again. And as you can see, this is already an outside node. I can modify the offset here and decrease the overall exposure. That's perfect. But I can also increase it in the inside of this mask if I wanted to. So in this case, I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is increase a little bit the temperature here in the inside and decrease it so it's a little bit cooler on the outside. This is before all of my nodes and this is the after. And the last node, go to Luma versus Add, select just the shadows and decrease it like very, very much. And also increase it a little bit more in this region. And yeah, that looks perfect.